Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tesla Life number 230 for this 1st of December 2021. Another month has been checked off. We're into the final stretch now of 2021. And Patrick, quick on the mute button there tonight. Welcome, Mr. Patrick Connor from the Portland area. How are you today, sir?
I'm good. Hello out there, Tesla family. I really missed hanging out with you guys last week. This is a fun part of my week, and so skipping it sucks. But it was great to have the holiday, and I took the week off work. Didn't worry about work. It was just a fun time. And today, speaking of Tesla related products, I got a call from a friend who said, "Hey, we're thinking about getting solar. I know you are into this stuff. What do you think about this?" And we went through his plans, and he was lamenting that he could only fit 10 kilowatt on his roof, and that's not enough to get to zero. And I'm like, no, you don't have to get to zero. If you 10 kilowatts going to provide a lot of free electricity from the sun. That's stuff you're not buying from the grid, and that's great. So you can take a small step towards a future free from fossil fuels. You don't have to go all the way in one big jump. Speaking of friends that contacted me after our last show 2 weeks ago, we had mentioned snow tires and steelies. And I had another friend who said, "Hey, I watched the show and you guys talked about this, but what do you do for traction in the winter?" So we should each go around and answer after Casey does his intro.
I'll start with my answer, though. My car weighs 6,000 pounds.
You just crush the snow.
Yes.
Under it, and you hear it cry out.
Cry out in pain. Mr. Casey Green joins us from the DC area. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing pretty well. I didn't see a FSD with Casey segment, so I'm going to just go ahead and drop this in right now. It went on strike on me at the end of my return from Thanksgiving vacation, and so 200 miles completely manually. Sounds like first world problems, but even my 1995 Nissan pickup with the manual transmission and crank windows had cruise control.
Yeah. So how'd you get kicked out of the program?
No! The Sentry mode got in a state, and then the FSD computer got angry and quit. So then when I parked for 30 minutes with the Sentry mode off, it came back. But trying to convince my wife that that was a good move to do in the middle of the trip was impossible. So I had that torturous drive while she slept. How rude. Yes. 10.5 has been all right. It changes things. I don't know that it's smoother, but I don't know. I'd say it's necessarily any better or worse yet.
And we haven't seen them open it up to the next group, have we?
That's right. We haven't. Yeah. And a friend of mine finally got in, and then her son promptly got her kicked out by ignoring the hold wheel prompts. So.
Yeah, it's not tracking what driver's doing the driving. So if the car is shared between family members, everybody has to drive at that escalated level. Otherwise, everyone gets kicked out.
Or turn the switch off while the other people are driving.
True.
What's up, Hockey Day? Yes, that is accurate.
Hello.
Very good. And Patrick, I'm sorry, what was the story about the traction?
Oh, yeah. So he wanted to.
But you didn't answer yet. Mark?
Yeah. What?
No, that's I wanted a clarification on the question.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. What do we do for winter traction? Did you buy Tesla's chains? Do you just go with snow tires? What's your driving?
Being in the Northeast or Lower Canada,
or just Canada,
or south of Patrick.
The vast majority of Canadians you will find will buy winter tires, not all season, but winters. And I even went to the point where I bought a separate set of rims that someone was selling. I got stock 18-inch rims from somebody else, and mounted my winters on it. So I'm swapping the tires every, the winter season's about 4 months long here. So I'm on winter tires, Continentals I bought, but I look for just a good brand that was on sale as we were approaching fall, and have bought a set that probably lasts me, 4 or 5 years.
Right. I did the exact same thing. I bought some rims because if you're taking the tires off off the rims, you can damage them, and so just having them permanently mounted is a whole lot easier when you're changing them twice a year, and you also don't do that damage to the tires when you're trying to remount them on rims. And then the other
saves you
thing
some money too.
yeah. So no, it becomes worth it pretty quick if you get some affordable rims that are the right size. So
these are my next.
Ah, so
They're winter
this is
tires,
cool.
but they're all year round. It's got the where's the winter symbol at? The Tri-Mountain Snow Peak. Sorry, keep going. I'll look for it.
Cool. Yeah, the other thing that I do is I bought some auto socks. I don't know if you guys have seen these.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, they're from I think a Norwegian company. They're certainly going to know snow there in that area, and they're just like these big shower caps that pop over your tires. So they're really easy to put on, and I haven't had to use them yet, so they're still new in the bag. But I've got the right size, and they're right there in the front. And so if I'm going up skiing or something and I get stuck, I can just pop these on. But with winter tires and all-wheel drive, I don't feel like I need them. But they're just as if someone says, "Do you have traction control devices? Otherwise, you can't go on this path." I can say, "Yes, I do," and there you go.
They'll say that on top of snow tires.
For the Leaf also, and I only used them once, but they worked great.
And there's on all three. They'll say that on top of snow tires.
Yeah,
it's not enough.
Oh,
yeah, they're low profile.
Yeah. So no, I meant they'll complain that you have snow tires on.
Oh, yeah. So there are some where it says traction control required, and I don't know if snow tires
count as traction control
for that. Yeah,
I have to say that
you might need 4 of them.
The traction control on the Model 3, in my opinion, is spectacular.
Yes.
That video that I had done at 3.5 years ago, our first winter here, you can see it on YouTube on the channel. That was with the stock tires that came with the car, and I'm zipping around a parking lot that I could get the back end to slide out with the traction control engaged with the stocks all seasons. So putting the winter tires on the car has made it a tank in the winter. So no problems here on my end. So it's been an ideal car for traction in the winter.
Is that yours rear wheel drive?
Yep.
Yeah, so I mean that's what everyone says. Oh, rear wheel in the winter, it's gonna not with
not the case of the Model 3 with the traction control, not at all.
Right.
I think any of the EVs, because even Volkswagen and everybody else, well, not everybody else, everybody that's like not Toyota and the Japanese has decided their cars will be rear wheel drive if they're only 2-wheel drive. The Japanese all seem to prefer front wheel drive for some reason. Well, I guess tradition.
Yeah, that's as we head into the winter season, that's a timely topic for sure.
Yeah, and the front wheel drive though, I mean, the whole advantage it ever had was that it had the weight over the wheels, and you don't have that in an EV.
Right. Yeah. So rear wheel EV is very different from rear wheel ICE. So don't
on ice.
Ice on ice. Yeah, don't assume that that's what it's going to be like that. It's a totally different technology.
Exactly. Yeah. Speaking of weight, Casey's got a story about the weighty Model S and some optional braking it's getting.
Yes. So you may have heard a while ago, today, later even, folks complaining that the Model S Plaid brakes aren't good enough, despite the fact that it set a new record on the Nürburgring with the stock brakes. So our friends at Tesla have decided that they would give us the option to purchase a new kit for your Tesla Model S Plaid with 21-inch wheels, because if you don't have 21-inch wheels, this kit won't fit. So what is this kit? It is a carbon ceramic brake kit with upgraded calipers and fluid. looks like this. So the red brakes are back, baby!
For a little bit of a premium price, but yeah.
Yeah, it's only $20,000.
If you're buying a Plaid anyway, what's another $20K?
Right, and it does sound like a lot of money because it is, but when you compare it to the options out there, like the Porsche 911 is $21,000, and the aftermarket brakes that are smaller than this would be about $17,000 to $19,000, and these are much bigger than those aftermarket brakes. And you still have to change your fluid with all of them. Somebody pointed out that, I could get them for $7,000 on my Porsche. That was a lower trim Porsche, so it had less power to dissipate, and it was only the front wheels, so it wasn't that useful.
Mm-hmm.
That one was more for show. Like, look how much money I had to spend on brakes.
And it's interesting that over this past 2 weeks, I've seen 2 videos now. One from Throttle House and one from Mountain Pass Performance. That had the the Model S Plaid on a track, and they were talking about the under braking that it had when you were really pushing it on the track.
Yeah,
and they had actually Mountain Pass video. They spun off the track twice. So, and of course, once those brakes heat up on a single lap, they're no good. To go into the second lap. So you get one shot at those stock brakes to hold you on the track, and even with that, the case, it's something that you're definitely going to have to be aware of if you're racing that car. I would suggest not racing that car with stock brakes
for sure.
Because it just it does not seem like a good idea.
So I had speculated on Sunday that perhaps this is why the Model S crashed before they got their records. Like maybe because you saw when like he was really pushing that regen /brake /throttle, and I wonder if those 2 crashes were actually because of braking. But then at the same time, I also pointed out that they did set 2 world records on the stock brakes. So I'm curious to see what they do with the new setup, as well as he said breaking news.
Breaking news.
So I'd like to see how that performs with just the brake kit, and then from there, I like to see what the rest of the track pack will get you.
Yeah,
because they're selling them separately, so I'd like to see them separately as well. What you get in there, you get 2 410 by 40 millimeter carbon silicon carbide front rotors, 2 410 by 32 carbon silicon carbide rear rotors, 2 6-piston one-piece forged front calipers, 2 4-piston one-piece forged rear calipers, 2 integrated caliper mounted parking brakes. So unlike my Model X, where you've got the separate parking brakes, it's more like the existing cars that are not performance, where you get them all integrated in one piece. 4 high-performance front brake pads, 4 high-performance rear brake pads, and 1 bottle of high-temperature brake fluid. And they'll install that, and you're good to go.
Yep, that's not a problem I'm going to have. But
not for 20 grand.
If you're racing, definitely look into it. Definitely.
Yes. Yeah. I need to ask Marcus if he's getting this for EV Smoke. That's his. That's the name of his Plaid.
That's his Plaid name.
Cool.
Yeah.
On to our next story of the evening, and Casey's got this one as well. What's going on here?
All right. So on this one, some folks have been passing on their Model Y deliveries for numerous reasons. You've got folks that are have their reservations for clout. So they can say, hey, look, I've got a reservation for a Tesla. And then you've got folks who couldn't get the money together. Like the bank is just not agreeing with their finances. And so they've been putting it off. And then you've got folks who are just kind of waiting for the next big thing, because Tesla really broke the mold last year with the 2021 models, where every 2021 model had something new. Typically, when stuff is ready, they just roll it out. And I guess with the supply shortage, the ship with all the new stuff on it just came at the same time. And they just rolled it into the model year. But immediately we saw after that they went back to the just rolling stuff in as it came available. Like we've got a story coming up about the Chinese Model Y MCU, or how we saw where some of the Model 3s and Model Ys were shipping without their USB-C ports, and then they finally got them back in later with a mobile service. And so Tesla's trying to encourage you to not wait for the next best thing, because as we all say on this show, if you see what you like, get it now, because they might make the new one more expensive, worse, or in some way less appealing to you than the one you can get today. And so what's happening there is if you do that, tomorrow is your last day to push it forward, and you can go ahead and schedule to get your car delivered. And if you fail to take delivery again, like say your bank still doesn't agree, or you miss your delivery appointment, or whatever, you're done. They're going to give you back your money and say, hey, try again in a couple of months. We'll see you next time.
Maybe not all of your money. Some of it's a non-refundable deposit.
That was the part that got me. They said, we'll give you back your money. So are these people in there so long that it was when it was still refundable? Or is it only if you are refundable that they will give it back?
Good question.
Or rather, I said, were they going to give it back to everybody because it was so long? Either way, yeah.
Could some of these be U.S. residents that are hoping for a
tax credit?
A tax credit.
Yeah, it's already December, so if there's going to be a tax credit next year, I think I might want to wait till January.
Yeah.
Well,
so they're maybe hoping to
Tesla doesn't want
delay
that
for another 30 days.
You got one. It's tomorrow, December 2nd. They sent out the warning emails, and they said, hey, it's been a while. We noticed you didn't get delivery last time like you told us you would. What's going on here?
Yeah, so this is only to people who've delayed 6 months or more.
Yeah,
so,
a long time.
Yeah. I don't think it's unreasonable.
It wasn't one delay. Yeah, it was several repeated delays.
Mm-hmm.
It makes it hard to plan for your next month's orders, your next quarter's orders of parts.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, the good thing is with all of those, they were just able to say, okay, this car's now available. Who wants it? And it was gone. So it's not too bad for Tesla.
True.
Yeah, but I think this certainly is Tesla looking to sell every last vehicle they can in the quarter they're in.
That and you also have to look at the support that goes with this. We mentioned that might have been before the show. We mentioned there's a new supercharger coming up in my area. If they didn't know who was there with an actual car and they were planning for that capacity or how many people would be passing through, that they might have installed too many or not enough stalls. We saw them just open up a 96 stall supercharger over in California. They had to plan this somehow, and knowing that the car is sold helps with that.
Exactly. Well, we'll keep our eye on that. But tomorrow's the deadline for some of these owners or potential owners. So we'll have to see what happens. But
hand raisers.
Yeah, exactly.
Expensive hand raisers. I have a feeling that we'll see them do this again. Not just, obviously they'll do it again for like clearing house. But I have a feeling that when the Cybertruck starts shipping, they'll clean house en masse again.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, with that next story, tied with
hinted at,
just speaking about, is that again, Model Y in Shanghai has started to receive some updates. Yep. So the Tesla is now making a Model Y Performance at Shanghai, and some people have noticed that it is getting the newest AMD Ryzen.
Yep, you get a performance computer with your performance car.
So this is the same computer that the S and the X are getting. That has been rolled now into this performance Model Y. As well in the Model Y, it's been noticed that it's receiving the lithium 12-volt battery. Mm-hmm. So that, again, is another update. And one other feature is that it's getting double-paned rear glass window. So how they went with the side windows to reduce the in-cabin noise recently, at the beginning of this year, actually it was. Now they've moved that double pane to the rear window glass as well. So
I'm wondering
some updates.
On that rear window, if that has something to do with the fact that you can do a manual override on the Model Y, whereas on the Model 3 you can't get out of that window. Or the door, if there's no power.
You mean in the case of an emergency?
Mm.
So they don't need to make that glass as breakable? Is that what you're saying?
Right. On the Model 3, you'd want to be able to kick it out or break it in some way because you'd be stuck. Whereas on the Model Y and every other Tesla, you can pull on the Model Y you got to take the door panel apart, but on that one you can do it. And on the S and the X, there's actually a really easy maneuver that you can do to get the door open.
Not sure if that would factor into their thoughts on this or not. Although we have seen that when some of these changes last year, at the beginning of this year, hit the Y, they also moved over to the 3 almost immediately as well.
Yeah.
So that that double plane side glass moved over immediately, as well as the console and other things. So
they do share 70% of their parts. So if Tesla's position is that the backup 12 volt and then the 12 volt itself are sufficient, then we'll see the Model 3 jump over probably pretty quick as well. And Akide is pointing out that this does not share the GPU with the S and X. I didn't know that, and at the same time, it makes sense that they don't have the 3 screens; they only have the one big one. So the processor graphics should be able to handle that, and it also gives you a differentiator between the two and saves chips and money on the less expensive car.
Right. If you could dumb it down somewhat because it's not going to be using the same type of processing speed or require it, then why wouldn't you save the money? Because it's not going to be taxed that hard.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Exactly.
Thank you, Happy I didn't know that.
The part about this that I find the most exciting is the 12 volt battery.
Me too.
Looking forward to that. We've been using lead acid for 100 years, and lithium's finally arrived. And this can even gas cars. It's smaller, it's lighter. That's less you're carrying around. So if it could help improve all of our fuel efficiency, regardless of what you're being fueled with. And the problem has been cold temperatures. Lead acid, it's tried and true and proven, even down to some pretty low temps. So lithium hasn't been able to keep up. But with the big battery pack there, you can condition that just like you're conditioning all the other batteries in the car, and
plus
keep it ready to go.
It's a lithium iron phosphate chemistry, so it's also already itself more cold tolerant than
not
than what we've been
NMC.
using.
Oh, that's smart. Yeah, cool.
Yeah. Elon suggested that he'd look into us getting it as a retrofit. So obviously, clearly, it looks like the Model Y might be on that list. But hopefully, us folks in this room with older Teslas will also be able to partake.
Have either of you? I've had my car now for 3.5 years approximately. I knock on wood, no problem with the 12 volt system at this point. How about you guys? Have you replaced a 12 volt battery in your vehicles? Casey has?
Yeah, it wouldn't let me do a software update without it.
Okay. Weird.
Or Smart Summon.
Yeah. So my car is 5 years old and still have the original battery in there.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
mine was done under warranty, and it was during that time where I was supercharging instead of charging. So I wonder if you guys being able to plug in every night, like I didn't go through any batteries on my Model S, so I'm wondering if being able to charge every day has any effect on that.
Because there has been stories about the 12 volt going prematurely in some Teslas, but I've never really connected to anything that I could put my finger on as to why certain vehicles have the problem. It may be a use case, as Casey has mentioned. Maybe it is something to do with supercharging. But
well, not necessarily supercharging, but not leaving the battery on its built-in tender, because when it's plugged into the wall, it can do what it wants with that battery.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
A plugged-in Tesla's a happy Tesla.
That's what they always tell us. It's right there in the manual.
Yeah.
Plug it in and leave it plugged in. Exactly.
Yes.
Well, next we're going to take a look at Giga Berlin. Of course, Patrick and I have a bet going as to whether Texas or Berlin is going to start production of saleable vehicles first. Of course, Casey's already won this bet with Shanghai coming in first on everything. But
Yes.
I guess we're going for second here. But
extra factory, design center,
What has happened recently is that job positions have been put out for Giga Berlin to hire a certain type of worker that relates to production, and that is end-of-the-line drivers. And they are wanted for January. So this is kind of hinting at production. An end-of-the-line driver is basically someone that is taking the vehicle off the assembly line and driving it to its parking position so it can then later be loaded onto a truck and sold. So these people are taking the vehicles out of the factory and parking them elsewhere, or I'm sure they're doing more than that. But that's a big part of their job, is going to be moving vehicles off the production line as they get completed. So this
sounds like a specialized lot porter.
Yeah.
Do they get a little electric scooter that they can zip back to get the next one?
Well, yeah, because a lot porter typically just move cars all over the place, but end of the line will only move them from the end of the factory to the parking lot.
I was hoping they would, get a lap at the test track and then park it in the parking lot.
There you go.
That would be the best job ever.
Check. Yeah.
Maybe that's why only some of them get the 50-mile test drive.
There you go.
I wonder if this is a temporary position, whereas when FSD is finished, they can just have the car drive itself out of the factory. It's a really controlled environment, just like the boring tunnel.
Possibly.
Yeah.
But
I think the best out of the factory.
I think having a person do it also gives another point of reference as to quality of the vehicle.
Yeah.
Somebody gets to actually physically start up the system and move the car out of the factory manually. Check that the steering and everything is as believed. So
right.
Yeah.
But the exciting thing is that they're wanting people in the position by January. So we've got some other stories about factories tonight, a lot of stories actually, but this is a good sign for Berlin to get up and running.
Well, I've asked my friends in Germany to complain more and ask for the environmental review to be restarted. Go Team Austin.
yes. Patrick pulling all the strings he can. Exactly.
Will it be enough?
And of course, the next story related to Berlin as well, as there have been reports, an actual report was tabled that Giga Berlin will start production in December, and their goal to start is at 1,000 units per week. And this report, it wasn't a Tesla report, but this is a government report that they have received, and someone, let the media see it, that this is what they're planning on doing. So, not a big surprise that the volume is going to be low to begin with.
Right.
Actually, very expected. Brand new factory, brand new lines, brand new employees, brand new procedure. So all that.
You said low? How many is Rivian making a week?
1,000. Okay. Low compared to
the other Gigafactories
that's been running for a while.
Yes.
Yeah. So it again with the previous story coupled, it looks like we could be getting some production in December. So
that's this month. That
Yes.
would be awesome.
Exactly.
Christmas cars. Kinder cars.
That is going to be very cool to see if that starts to roll. So, and another story out of Germany, we had heard about this previously, was that Tesla had qualified to receive a subsidy from the German government for building a battery factory, which of course they were putting at Giga Berlin. The site is been up and under construction for some time now. Tesla had been earmarked for close to $1 billion, I believe it was, for the subsidy. Kind of surprising, but after you hear what's happened lately with Germany, maybe not surprising, is that Tesla has decided to forego that money and strike out on their own and not have to comply with the subsidy requirements. They have decided that they're not going to take the subsidy. They're going to do it on their own. And that will allow them to move, they believe, quicker through the regulatory process. With, of course, any subsidy from any government, you've got hurdles that you've got to clear. You've got requirements that have to happen. It may be employment, it may be construction times, it may be, who knows? There's a number of different things that would be earmarked attached to that money. And Tesla has decided that it doesn't make sense for them to go for that money based on the requirements that they will have to clear. and they've decided that it makes more sense to us at this time to move ahead without it. And that's subsidies are there to use. Certainly, Tesla has collected subsidies in the past from many other governments, and that's not a surprise. But as Tesla gets larger, and they're certainly financially viable at this point, have been for quite some time, they're able to start making their own calls. They don't have to worry about a subsidy. They don't have to be worried that a government is giving out subsidies to BMW or some other company and they're not able to collect. It doesn't matter anymore. They are stable. They are growing. They are profitable, and it just makes sense if it's going to cause them less of a headache, if it's going to allow them to get to the market faster, if it's going to allow them to be more efficient, then yeah, skip the money, do it yourself, and call your own shots to make sure that what is happening is what you want to happen in the time that you have allotted.
And then on top of all of that, Elon got caught up in a Twitter fight where somebody was doing the thing that they usually do, mining his pocket, and said, "Oh, you're only doing this with subsidies." And he pointed to this as an example of one where they didn't take any subsidies. And he says his position is that he doesn't believe in any subsidies, but as long as they're fossil subsidies of $1 million a second, maybe we should start there before we start counting other people's pockets.
Yeah.
And then I think that was the end of that thread. But yeah.
No, that's like there were so many other short sellers in the early days, 3, 4, 5 years ago, that were constantly complaining that the only reason that Tesla's even in business is the subsidies they were collecting from different governments. And of course, the carbon credits they were getting from other countries, other businesses that had to abide by a certain, a certain CO value, and of course, fines that would happen if you didn't produce a number of electric cars. But no, that really was over, I would say, 4 years ago.
Oh yeah, it was pretty quick.
After the Model 3 became stable,
yeah,
I think all that stuff went away. They didn't really need the subsidies. Sure, they're nice to have. They're nice to collect, and they're holding the feet of other companies to the fire to make sure that they produce electric vehicles, or they have to pay for it. So I certainly don't oppose it, but it is good to see that again, another sign that Tesla is now completely independent. They are now continuing to move, to grow, and to be more and more financially stable with every passing day, and socking money away in their bank accounts.
Yeah, in fact, they're paying down all of their loans early.
Yeah.
And then when you look at their credit rating, it's incredibly low. I think it was what they say, BB. It should be like BBB plus by now at the minimum, if you use the criteria.
Right. There's nobody else at this level in the S&P 500 with this low of a credit rating.
You're right. Yeah, that much cash in the bank. Yeah, GM is basically defaulted. Wait. No, GM didn't need to. They were bailed out. Ford has defaulted. They haven't paid back their money. Nissan paid back. Tesla paid back early, and who's the third one? They paid back as well.
Yeah, other companies have huge debt. They're not repaying, but they have a better credit rating. I don't understand their math here.
How's that work?
I'm not following. Yeah. You have to be pretty secure to just walk away from $1 billion and go, nah.
We're not going to do anything about it.
If you're desperate, you're going to be like, what are the hoops? I don't care. I'm jumping through.
Oh, and by the way, we need extra money for the cars that we build. Even though we didn't give you any money, we need extra money in subsidies for these cars that are union built.
Well, hopefully this just means the German government can give that to somebody else, and that gets more EVs out on the road, and that's good for
electrify all the things.
All the things.
For the FFFs.
That's right.
Exactly. So, that's the news from Germany this week, quite a bit. Another note about Gigafactories is that Casey's winner, which of course is GigaFactories Shanghai, has announced that they're going to be investing another $188 million into the plant to increase production value. So they have this is a plant, remember, that went from a mud field to an operating plant in under a year.
Yeah, was it 10 months?
It was
Impressive.
yeah, 10 months and change.
Yeah.
But that is a feat that has not been duplicated. Certainly,
Not the other two.
Berlin and even Austin have not been able to get close to that number. Berlin and Austin are now into 400 and 500 days, which is, year and a half plus. So that money is going to be well spent in Shanghai. It's probably what they believe is that plant will eventually be producing 1 million vehicles a year. Eventually, that's not with this. That's not with this update, but that's what the word is they're aiming for as time goes along. So they're updating its ability to produce more and more vehicles, and it's shocking. The plant, how it's grown, how it's added lines, how it's added buildings. It seems that location is always under construction, and they're always adding things to it to increase its production ability. So my hat's off to Shanghai. They're number one when it comes to Gigafactories for sure, with the speed that they've been able to produce and deliver.
That is right.
And with that, we move to the next Gigafactory that Patrick's got a story for us.
That's right. Yes, I gave Mark a 6-month head start, and we're coming down to the wire. It's going to be close. So, Texas is not standing still either. So Gigatexas has applied for, they've submitted an application to the Architecture Review Board, and they have 5 main workshops. They're body in white, stamping, casting, paint, and general assembly. So those are their 5 main workshops, and they've requested that these be approved. And the title of this is that the stamping shop has been approved. But then if you scroll down to the rest of the article, there's been an update in which they say all 5 have now been approved.
Oh, cool.
So, Texas is coming along too. And it's going to be close. We'll see if Germany really can deliver this month. And if they do, that's awesome. And if they have yet another bureaucratic delay, maybe Gigatexas can catch them.
Maybe.
Or if all the ants on site get together and hold a protest.
Yes, with the bats and the birds and the lizards, and have a parade through the cardboard forest.
Through the cardboard forest. Exactly.
That's right. And not to leave the original Gigafactory out of this, since it's not on the list, but they have nearly completed their solar panel deployment. So we'll look for an article on that coming up in the future.
Right. Yes. Very cool. Yeah. So we all know that Gigatexas is where the Cybertruck is going to be made. And if you're a Cybertruck fan, there was a little something new and cool, not made in Texas, but still that just came out on Tesla's shop.
And it's gone.
Picture of it? Yeah. Sold out of stock. This is the Cyber Whistle. It looks like a Cybertruck, but it is a whistle. So if you were looking for a stocking stuffer for your favorite Tesla fan, for just $50, you can buy them a stainless steel whistle.
Medical grade stainless steel.
How did you get that out of your mouth? $50 for a whistle.
Yeah, this was why I wasn't too sad. By the time I got there, I saw they were out of stock.
I was just lucky it was underneath the spousal approval factor, so I didn't have to ask permission.
Nice.
Like everything else they make. But they just took my money. I got no email, no. It's not showing up in my history, so I might get a refund. I don't know. If I get a Cyber Whistle, that'd be cool, but we'll see.
So you got through, but it doesn't show up in your history, so you're not sure if you're getting it or not.
Right, but as we were saying earlier off the air, Patrick and I have a mixed history with Tesla and the ability to actually communicate through the process of an order. Sometimes you get the email, the confirmation, the shipping, the tracking number, and then it shows up. Sometimes stuff just shows up on your door.
Hey, well, if you weren't fast enough and didn't get one of these, I'm sure that a few weeks from now you can go to eBay and pay 5 times more to get one of these.
This is true.
Yeah.
Cyber Whistle sales are final.
Well, there you go, Casey. That's your guarantee that you're getting it.
Not necessarily. Although I do have 2 items from this novelty shop in Illinois that I don't know where they came from, and that did show up. Now that I'm putting the 2 things together, it did show up after that. So I wonder if this is
They're
that.
shipping it from Illinois. There you go.
But that'd be really fast, especially for Tesla. So I don't know.
Illinois, is it normal Illinois? Does
no,
it
was
have an extra line that they're producing whistles?
No, it was like a Chatsky shop, like a branded corporate items, whatever shop. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we'll have to see if you get that whistle, and if it's a good whistle, it better be for 50.
It better be a good whistle.
The best whistle you've ever seen.
Yeah.
It better be, man. But we'll check that out if you do actually receive it.
If you see the Giga beer ever being sold, you guys got to tweet us at the Tesla.
Yeah,
Live.
haven't seen that. Haven't seen
like
it
at normal sales, not the the scalpers, because I don't know that we can afford the scalper price.
The whistle's going for $50, man. The Giga beer's got to be $5,000.
It better not be more than Tesla tequila. That's all I'm saying.
This is true. That was pricey. Out of the box, it was pricey, and then in the aftermarket, the empty bottles were going for a good little bit too.
Right? Yeah.
I saw the empty bottles going for $600. Yeah, and then Tesla started selling their own empty bottles for $250 for a minute.
Right. Yep.
And of course, Elon talking a little bit about the upcoming fourth quarter. Patrick's got a story about what he's going to be talking about in the fourth quarter.
That's right. Mr. Musk could not stay away.
Nope.
So he said he wasn't going to be on earnings calls any longer unless he had something important to say. And the Q4 meeting will be in January, and that's sort of the year-end wrap-up. It makes sense for him to be in that one. One of the reasons he's going to be there is somebody has asked him, this is the only place to talk to him, is on Twitter, about a Cybertruck update. It's been 2 years after all, the tweet says. And Elon responds, "Oh man, this year has been such a supply chain nightmare, and it's not over. I will provide an updated product roadmap on the next earnings call." So he will be there, and he will be telling us what's coming. To which, of course, the Cybertruck is going to be a big part of that because that's their upcoming products. So hopefully we'll hear something about the Roadster and the Semi. That would be nice to hear about all 3 of those. And then
the Model Next.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
Might be a little early for that one.
Yeah, I hope so. That would be nice, but I'm not holding my breath for that one. Yep, there's still a lot they need to deliver the other 3 that they've been promising for years before they start teasing the next one after that. And the Cyber Quad, that's the one I really want. But I don't expect to hear about that one either.
Yeah, Tesla has been constrained massively this year. They're just, the battery situation has really the 4680 situation has slowed them down. That's what really had happened. It started, of course, with the Model S unveil that it was not going to be the 1,000-kilometer or
the Plaid Plus disappeared.
Mile. Right? They knew that was not going to happen if that battery was not available. And of course, that battery is tied to the Semi. It's tied to the Roadster. It's tied to the Model Next. All those vehicles are going to require the 4680 at its proper density and cost in order for those vehicles to be able to be produced in mass.
Right. The vehicles that haul have to have it, whether it's hauling stuff or hauling ass. You need to have
it. Exactly. So, it's hey, David Watts, you don't need a key. You've got a key card. You don't need a key.
This is true, yeah. You just carried the whistle loose in your pocket. You don't need any
That's
keys.
right. There's no need to attach it to a key because you don't have one. So
Not on the car, not on the house.
Just kidding.
Yeah.
House. Yeah, I'm sure it would be useful to have a key on it. But
Yeah, that's the one they haven't done yet. Is the Model Y.
Yeah, exactly. So next on the list is Casey with an update on the CCS adapter. What's going on?
Yes. So oh wow, my stuff jumped. The CCS Adapter Support has finally been enabled on U.S. cars as of 2021.40.6. If you're on that version, you'll see a little info card on the More Info software page of your car, and you'll see CCS support either installed or not installed, or enabled or not installed. And there was a reader of Drive Tesla Canada who took a trip to South Korea, picked up the CCS adapter, and brought it home. And he's been trying it out repeatedly, and it finally started working.
Nice.
Yes. So clearly his car has the Powerline communications chip in it. That's a requirement to actually work CCS. And
so
hopefully,
do you know when that started?
Cars in 2020, late 2020, are showing with it, and cars in late 2019 are showing without it. So
if you got one of the early Model 3s, like Mark and I did, you're
We're out
hosed.
of luck.
Well,
Yeah.
the chip that controls this sits in between the charge port and the rest of the car. So technically, there's nothing stopping them from retrofitting it. The question is, will they allow that anytime soon? And one of the people reading the article pointed out that they changed their whole charge port and it didn't do it. But the charge port is outside of the computer chip, so
Yeah.
you would need to change the whole charging system to get that.
Well, hopefully there will be some sort
computer.
of a retrofit if the car
yeah,
can
it's
enable it to start.
It's a straightforward chip. The computer that controls the charge door and whether you're charging on AC or DC is the same one. So if they change that module out with the new module, then you're good to go. That's why I'm hoping that it'd be an easy retrofit, even if they charge us for it.
And of course, this doesn't really affect me in any way, shape, or form. But
what about Canada's Electric Highway?
Well, it's I've got the Tesla Electric Highway across.
This
Canada.
is true.
So with that amount of superchargers, I have yet to come into a situation in my travels that
I found one
outside.
So coming back from Thanksgiving holiday, Elizabeth, New Jersey. It's a, I think, 14 or 16 stall V3 supercharger. 4 stalls are out, so basically the whole cabinet is down. And there were something like 12 Electrify America chargers, and instead of me cutting the line like I did, I could have... they weren't looking, and they just let it sit open, so I took it. You had a black guy in a black Model Y. They turned around and there was a black guy in a black Model X.
Do we need to explain supercharger etiquette to Casey Green? Is that what
I understand supercharger etiquette. They looked at it and they kept looking at it and they didn't move, so I moved. And then when they turned back around, the car just got bigger and the guy got a little lighter.
Casey.
Oh man,
It was terrible of me, but it was there and they weren't moving. I did it. But what I could have done instead of being a jerk is if I had a CCS adapter, I could have. I had my CHAdeMO, but I wasn't about to pay for CHAdeMO speeds. I could have plugged into the Electrify America. Plus, the one CHAdeMO was in use. So.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
To have this, there are certain people who are going to want it. And so if they can do a retrofit, that would be great. I don't think it's like absolutely required. But
they do the retrofit on the UK and other European Model X's and X's. So it's not unheard of. And in fact, they came with their CCS adapter. When you bought the adapter, you actually had to pay more if you didn't have the chip, and it wasn't a lot more. It was like $50, $100. And it's
that makes
much
sense.
more reasonable than our
card you have, and then know whether or not you would need it. So just make it a package deal.
Yeah, because if you had a newer, like a 2020 Model S or X, you just got the plastic and metal adapter, and if you had an older, like a 18 or 17, 16, you had to get the more expensive kit. And it seems seamless. So hopefully they can do something like that here, like do a bundle.
Longtime viewers will remember when Dr. Evan Fusco was on the show occasionally, and he talked about how there was a lack of charging in certain areas where he's at. And so if Electrify
long
America
ago.
is in that spot and this helps fill in the gaps to get you back to the Tesla network, then hey, that's great.
Or if you
Or
happen to
just
be
like
in
you said.
Elizabeth, New Jersey, or California.
Right. Yeah. So Casey, you just gave a good example about how there are times when you would have used it when you're out and about. And then maybe Tesla's opening their network up.
Yeah.
Maybe that means the lines are going to get a little longer and you might want to have another alternative. Or depending on what the prices are, maybe you get some deal with Plug-in America where you get 3
Yeah, maybe
months
Plug
free
America's doing a free weekend.
or Electrify America, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so if they're doing a free weekend, then if you've got this adapter, you can participate. So
Yes.
more options, better for everybody.
Yeah, and on the East Coast, a wait is not typical.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's not for sale yet in North America, the actual
Correct.
adapter.
Right. He picked his up from South Korea. But we had the same charge port, and it just so happens that the software was enabled on his car at this point. And to be fair, on the East Coast, we typically don't have a wait like that. But when you have a busy travel holiday and 4 stations down, it came down to some people had a 4-minute wait.
4 minutes. Oh my gosh.
Do you know how much electricity you
World
get from
problem.
Electrify America in 4 minutes for $5?
But it
Oh
makes
man.
sense. They did this with Chatamo as well. Like it was released in Japan, and for a while, and it took them months before it came to the U.S. So now we're seeing the same thing.
Yeah, and in fact, the Model 3 couldn't even use it until the Japanese Model 3 release was imminent, and then all of a sudden it started working in the U.S. because they also had the same port as us.
So I expect to see it here soon now that they've got the software.
Yeah, it would be a shame to put it in the store, start selling it, and people receive it and go, "Oh, we haven't updated the software yet. It's not going to work."
Right. Yeah, just wait a few months.
Did you push the button and see if you have the support enabled or not? Oh, you don't have that update. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that would be the wrong way to do it. So, yeah.
Hey, that's Tesla communication. I see them doing exactly that.
They have done some things like that, yes.
Yeah.
It's probably imminent. So we'll keep our eye on that. And a good thing to notice is that if you want to find out when it does happen, please follow us on our socials at the Tesla Life on Twitter or the Tesla Life #1 on the Facebook. And Patrick and I update that throughout the week. And we'll keep you up to date and produce a story and an update as soon as we see it happen. So keep your eye on it by following us through the week on those social medias. If you haven't already, please give us a thumbs up on this video. Press the subscribe button. Doesn't cost you anything. And ring that bell if you'd like to be notified every time we put up a new video. We would appreciate it. It helps the algorithm and gets us in front of new people. So that allows you to support the show for no cost at all. But
that's cool.
Yeah, that wasn't a story that just came out. We have here in Ontario on the major highways, we have something called En Route, which is a rest stop throughout the province of Ontario. I think there's 13 or 14 different ones, and they have announced that they're going to install EV chargers by the summer of 2022, so next year. Nice. No details on what size or speed they will be, but that will be a plus for Ontario drivers.
There you go. As much as I complain about Tesla and communication, I want to point out that I just had a service yesterday, and the communication was on point, the service was good, and now my car no longer sounds like an old bed rolling down the highway with squeak, 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 because I now have new upper control arms.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
And an alignment.
The EV charging at rest stops is a really good idea. You've already got the infrastructure there. It's next to where people are traveling. That's why they're where they're at. In Oregon here, we had a problem in that there were laws against selling anything at a rest stop. Yeah. Because they didn't want, a bunch of people coming in selling their wares to. They wanted those to be, where people could pull over and rest and not get harassed. Yes. And so they I think they've made some exceptions now for EV charging because that's, not some vendor selling something. So right. This is an awesome idea, and I hope more places start doing this.
I also like the way they do it in the Northeast. I think they get around it because they're all toll roads rather than interstates. And And at every Oasis, well, not every Oasis, but at nearly every Oasis, there's a supercharger and a generic DC fast charge, and every now and then there's a couple level 2s as well.
Cool.
So you can get something to eat, the fossils can get some gasoline, and use the restroom and be back on the road.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, with that, Mr. Green, any call-outs at the end of the show? What do you got happening on the Casey Green YouTube channel?
So over at youtube.com/Casey Green, KACEYGREN, I just released a video on FSD 10.5 in the rain. And it starts out predictably not working because FSD 10.4 and 10.5 don't officially work in the rain. I don't know why the regression, but literally they coded it in. It's raining, I'm not driving. And then I got it to stop thinking that it was in the middle of a hurricane, slow the wipers down long enough to turn it on, and at that point it stayed on for the rest of the drive. So take a look at that. And coming up, I've also got a destination charge review at the Palmer House Inn. And then every Sunday we've...
And soon to be one right across the street from him.
Yes, I'll definitely be reviewing that one, and then every Sunday.
Charge review ever.
Right,
Here,
the easiest
I'm
one.
out my window.
Yes.
I put the car in and went home and had a quick nap and came back. Best supercharger ever.
Exactly, and then every Sunday I do a similar style to this, but it's open to not just Tesla. It's all the green living and Elon companies, and check it out. Just pop in and pop out. It's a long show, so if you don't have time, that's all right. Just come on through.
And Patrick, what do you got for a shout out for us for this evening?
I'll do my usual ones. I am with the Oregon Electric Vehicle Association. You can find us at oeva.org, and I blog occasionally at carswithcords.net. My latest one is 7 things that the rest of the auto industry should learn from Tesla.
Oh.
Yeah.
Just give us
number 6 will surprise you.
Just give us one that's on that list.
One is software first.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. Right now, software is an afterthought, and it shows for most of the auto industry. And they build their teams for a given product, and then they tear them down, which means they're not doing updates and continuous improvement. And a lot of it's outsourced and hodgepodge together, and it shows. Okay, this menu style is completely different from that one. When you go into infotainment versus the navigation, they don't have the same look and feel. All of that you need to have a software team that is in-house, up and running all the time. And that's just one of them.
I was going to say in between trim levels, but yeah, even like you said, in between menus on the same car.
Right. Yes.
See, even if they don't want to become software companies, what they could do is just have one team whose job it is to just have a unified, just like they have a branding team, make sure the blue oval is the right color blue on every car. Maybe also make sure that this is the Ford style menu. This is the GM menu.
Yes.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Just a thought.
Right. That was a freebie.
Well, thank you very much for watching this evening. Again, give us a thumbs up at this point if you haven't already, and press that subscribe button. And we will see you next week and find out what's going on in the Tesla life. Good night,
Stay
everyone.
positive.
Get you a couple minutes back.